next up for speaking is a very good friend of mine from Canada, um, Ryan Crowley, and I just have to say, starting out, that I've been around Southern support for about 3 decades now, and I think I've spoken to 5 SLP grad classes in all those years. And here comes a guy that has spoken to over 100, and I'm not sure, Ryan, has it been 2 years? Maybe 2.5 years? He spoke to 100
Three.
SLP grad student classes, 3 years. It is an amazing accomplishment. I mean, there's very few people that have probably done 10, and Ryan has done 100. So, what an impact on the world Southern community you're making, my friend. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Ryan Crowley.
Well, thank you for the kind words, Tom. I they mean the world to me. I really do appreciate them. So, uh, yeah, I just want to start by saying, uh, I joined Reddit's. I joined this morning. Reddit's Johannes was starting, uh, I don't know if he's still here, uh, but Johannes, thank you very much, and I also want to give a big thank you to Jane Fraser. Jane is, I don't know if she knows or not, but she's been a personal inspiration for me for a long time. So Jane, thank you very much, and keep up the wonderful work you do with the Stuttering Foundation. So I have been a person who stutters since I was 6 years old. And it's kind of funny how that started. I was in kindergarten, and this woman came in to see me. She was an SLP, and I no idea who she was, why she wanted to see me, and I was a sensitive kid. So if someone I didn't know came to see me, I thought I was in trouble. That wasn't the case, obviously, but my teacher knew who she was, so I gave her the benefit of the doubt. And the SLP and I went to an empty office across the hall from our classroom. And we spoke for about 15 minutes, but we didn't talk about stuttering or fluency, anything like that, which made it even more ambiguous. Uh, she just asked me how I like school, what are my hobbies, stuff like that. And at the end of those 15 minutes, um, we're about to leave the office, and she was the SLP was very encouraging. She's like, "That was good, Ron. That was really good." And here I am thinking, okay, I don't know why you're so impressed. I'm just talking. Uh, so either A, I didn't know that I stuttered, or B, I knew I stuttered, but didn't think there was anything, lack of a better term, abnormal about it. So we went our separate ways. Still confused, but in the coming weeks and months, I did notice that something was definitely off, I guess, with my speech. I was having a hard time speaking. I was experiencing sort of like a sore throat every time I try to say a certain word or certain sound. Yeah, those that early time was definitely challenging for me. For most of my life, I was too intimidated to speak, much less having engaging conversations. I felt isolated and alone, like I couldn't find common ground with anyone as far as my stutter went. To others, especially those who didn't know me, my stutter was the result of A, a lack of confidence, or B, a lack of intelligence. Now, the former was certainly accurate. I did have my times where I lacked confidence. But the latter was debilitating. It was heartbreaking because, like, I shouldn't say most, but definitely um, some thought I was, like a better term, stupid because I couldn't get uh, certain words out. And I mean, it was bad enough in childhood, but it was especially heartbreaking as an adult when that happened. But to counter my limited verbal communication, I took up writing as a young child. I write short stories, poems, and even mock sports articles. It was my alternative way of communication, so to speak. Still, I grew up not believing I could really accomplish anything because of my stutter. I didn't have the confidence to go for the appealing job. I didn't have the confidence to talk to the new kid in class. Heck, I didn't have the confidence to stand up for myself, which is too bad. And see, I grew up like mainly in the 1990s, so I had speech therapy, but for me, as I'm sure it was for many kids in speech therapy at the time, it was very fluency based. So with many of my SLPs, there was very little gray area when it came to evaluating stutters. You were either fluent or you weren't. There was very little wiggle room. This affected my psyche and my confidence levels as I put more pressure on myself to be fluent. The more pressure I put on myself, unfortunately, the less success I had. Something I'd tell future SLPs today, though, is to offer more leeway to their clients, to be patient, empathetic, to understanding, and above all, empathetic. I also encourage them to tell their clients something I never heard growing up, that it's okay to stutter. I was diagnosed with depression in 2004, although I believe I had the affliction for much longer. The aforementioned reasons placed different factors in my diagnosis. All the while, I just wish I knew someone else personally who stuttered, someone I could relate to on what felt like a lonely existence. I knew famous people who stuttered, like James Earl Jones, Marilyn Monroe, and Winston Churchill. And they're more than that, but and while they each had decorated resumes in their respective fields, they weren't people I could meet. Years went by where I was excluded both personally and professionally because few had the patience or even the understanding for my stutter. Instead of making an effort, they decided to move on and not bother talking to me. It was heartbreaking. I went into stores, classrooms, and workplaces where employees, classmates, and coworkers alike would smile amusingly at each other, laugh, or even mock me, all the while treating others, including those with more visible disabilities, with respect. I went home feeling small and I went home feeling worthless. I was an artist by nature because of my writing, and I loved that. But I just wanted to be respected, and rarely did I feel that I was. So, fast forward to the year 2016. I had been let go from a job which left me with hard feelings, a lot of anger, bitterness, and a deep level of depression. And a lot of what I just mentioned happened in this one job. Because I stuttered, people decided they weren't going to make an effort getting to know me or even speaking to me. For weeks, I laid in bed or on my couch, just wasting those days away in the aftermath. But I couldn't keep going on like this. I needed a project, something to get me out of bed and moving and back into the swing of things. But it was painfully difficult. Still, I pushed through. But what could I possibly do? By this time, I was a hockey writer, covering the NHL's Los Angeles Kings from my own platform, Make Way for the Kings. The Kings were looking forward to their next season, their 50th season. So why not interview 50 former Kings to coincide with the anniversary? Oh no, I can't do that. Yeah, that's not going to happen. These were some of my initial thoughts. After all, at that time, I mean, we had Skype, but that wasn't quite as reliable as Zoom is. So 1,000 miles between me and all these players in California in the southwestern U.S. I had to kind of bite the bullet, if you will, and use the phone. It's something that gave me great fear for many years. So, so naturally, I couldn't do it. But wait, remind myself of the adage that there's an after that. I thought, why not find a way to get around this issue? Why not adapt to it? So I took two ideas. Number one, remember that I could pick up a landline phone and talk without dialing. I decided to download an audio app and record my questions and what I wanted to say. Number two, a pivotal scene in the King's speech shows King George, played by Colin Firth, reading from a book while listening to classical music through headphones. He doesn't stutter at all, which resonated with me for a moment like this. So I combined the headphones method with the audio recording method. Then I wrote up an email template, who I am, why I'm reaching out, and the forewarning about my stuttering, before reaching out to former kings one by one. All agreed to be interviewed, and none, to my relief, had issues with my situation. I still had my concerns, though. What if they asked me to repeat the question? What if they have bad reception and can't hear me? Slowly but surely, I got past these issues, having an easier time with each passing interview. After a few months, I had done it. I'd interviewed 50 former kings, mostly by the phone. Uh, some were never available, so we had to exchange emails. But most were on the phone, and I did it. And suddenly, at the risk of sounding corny, I had a new lease on life, and I felt unstoppable. With baby steps, I went from down and out to breaking through. For my series, which I titled Word Reflections, because I love alliteration, I found a full time job I would spend the next 7 years at. Then, for the first time in my life, I found other people who stutter, all through the Canadian Stuttering Association and then beyond. Then, after attending my first CSA conference in 2018, I was invited to speak in October of 2019. My public speaking career was born. I was riding on a high for a few months. I could not wait to give my next speech, to have a repeat of the thrill of speaking to a live audience. But then in early 2020, the pandemic happened, canceling all live speeches for the foreseeable future. How could this happen now? I thought, just when things are going so smoothly. It took some time to adjust, but I was able to get in a good collective mindset. In fact, I did more phone interviews, close to 400 to be more accurate. How I did, I don't know, but it's in hindsight. Uh, but my brother, who's always been a big support of mine, uh, during the pandemic, I took his long-standing advice. My brother, Adam's his name. He told me I should write a book. Now, while he may have meant a book of interviews, I went a step further and decided to write about my life, about my journey as a sports writer who stutters. And why not? Because of lockdowns, I had nowhere else to be. Do this and do it now. I began writing my book in November 2020. Took an hour or two each day to write a bit more and a bit more, and I was published in August of 21, and it it left me feeling wonderful, which is available on Amazon, by the way, no pressure. So yeah, but I wasn't satisfied though. I was now a published author in addition to being a public speaker, but I wanted to add to my momentum. So when the calendar turned to 2022, I decided to reach out to future speech language pathologists, specifically college and university, which had SLP programs. A few schools responded to me with enthusiasm, then a few more, and then a few more. I spoke to many classes virtually, but had the privilege of taking part in camps for kids who stutter, like Temple University in Philadelphia, or the College of St. Rose in Albany, New York. As of today, I've spoken to over 100 schools, totaling over 200 speeches. And 2022 and 23 also saw the release of two more of my books. Going back on my brother's advice, I decided to turn my collection of interviews into a book. In 22, I wrote Royal Reflections, Tales from the Throne of Tinseltown. The NHL would not let me use the Los Angeles Kings name, so I had to be creative. 2023 also saw a book of poetry, Tongue Tied and Bonafide, personal poetry on stuttering, sports, and success. 2023 also saw more speaking opportunities, like speaking at a CEO's 50th birthday party at a Four Seasons in Mexico. That was a good week. But you know, it was because of these opportunities, but mainly because of my decision to stop making excuses and try, that changed my perspective on stuttering. For a very long time, I let others look down on me because I stuttered. However, thanks to the confidence I gained from these opportunities, and also for my 7 years at my full time job, I decided that I was going to diplomatically let others know that I will be respected in spite of my stutter. For one thing, I carry around an I Person Stutters card, courtesy of the Stuttering Foundation, and I carry that around with me in case I run into a very nervous situation where I can't speak at all. I also make it clear, whether verbally through email or GChat, that I need a screen, laptop, tablet, or phone, just in case I have trouble speaking and need to write things down. This in turn helped me flourish. In an interview, my future boss even gave me time to set up my laptop and type my answers on a magnified Google Doc. I aced the interview and I got the job. You know, for years, I never felt that I deserved respect for being a person who stutters. If others didn't care to listen, that was on me. Things changed, though. My perspective changed, as I said, and good things began to happen. You know, you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. Most people give up easily, not knowing just how powerful the human spirit is. It's hard to kill that human spirit. Anybody can feel good when things are going their way, have a great job, have happy relationships. Anybody can be positive then, have a larger vision, and have faith under those kinds of circumstances. The real challenge of growth, though, mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. It takes courage to act when you've been defeated. It takes courage to be hungry, to start over again, or frankly, just to get started. I may not know all of you, but I know that you all have stories to tell. You all destined for great things. And one of the most common adages is that you can do anything you set your mind to. That can be tiring to hear given how common it is, but it's common for a reason, because it's true. It took me a very long time to realize that for myself. And what stopped me? Who stopped me? I did. For years, I didn't believe in myself, mostly because of my stutter. Oh, woe was me, I stutter. You know what? Good riddance to that mindset. So many with different disabilities, afflictions, setbacks, you name it. Accomplish great things all the time. So why can't I? More importantly, I'm going to set my own bar. I've compared myself to others in the past, and it is torturous. I'm not here to be the next this person or that person. I'm here to be the first me. So if I get through to 100 people, 10, or even one person, I'm good with that regardless, and it's worth it. So remember that. So as I close, remember this: hard work pays off, dreams do come true, tough times don't last, but tough people do. Thank you all.